Hey students, it's Mr. C, and this morning I'm going to walk you through the annotated stakeholder visual assignment. So this is this week's homework. It's due on Sunday. And this is a really fun assignment because it allows you to be creative, but it's also going to really push your thinking on something that you've probably thought a little bit about, but not in great depth. So we're looking at the various stakeholders in education. Of course, a stakeholder is someone who has a vested interest. They care what happens with that thing. And typically, when I ask students who are the stakeholders in education, it's really easy to come up with students, parents, teachers, and then sometimes they'll say, well, like local districts or maybe the government. But then it's harder to come up with stakeholders. Well, in this assignment, you're going to research who all the various stakeholders are, and I'll get you started with the reading for that, which lists at least 15. But then the real important part of this is to push yourself to think about, well, how do those stakeholders work together to improve education? Where are there conflicts? So often there's conflicts of interest. And so what are the issues that arise because of the various competing stakeholders, and what might that do to affect education down the road? So the to start, let me just pull open the document. So I'll do a screen share here. All right, so here we have the annotated stakeholder visual. This document is in Canvas in the week 3 module, but it's also listed in files if you need to look for it. I think the documents, well, it's called MCA2 annotated stakeholder visual. So you should be able to find this quite easily. And as we look at the description, it just shows that you're going to create a visual that shows the structure of the various stakeholders. So this is kind of an art assignment, which is kind of fun, but it's meant to push you on the relationships between the stakeholders. So this is really important, what's underlined here. The visual must be annotated. That means it's going to have notes. It's going to talk about how the various stakeholders interact with each other, what kind of relationships they have. As we go down and look at the process, first you're going to identify stakeholders by going over this reading. So this is also in that thing, and I just took this off the web and converted it to a PDF, but it lists 15 different stakeholders. So we're looking at administrators, businesses, unions, policymakers, government reps, taxpayers, universities, school board, community. And then it talks a little bit about the internal versus external stakeholders. So read that first. And I think you even need to do a reading reflection on that one. So you get a double dip with this. It helps you with your assignment for the week, but it also helps you with just your normal reading reflection. Then you're going to have to do some research. So you're going to have to Google a few things to better understand the relationships. Once you know who the stakeholders are, then you have to think about, well, how do parents and local government intersect? And so I have some ideas on this step by step for getting you started with some Google searches. You don't have to do a ton of research, but enough that you can identify 4 or 5 good relationships. And I said online search for just 2 to 3, but that's because you already have some sense of 2 or 3 others and how they work together. Then you get to create a visual showing the different structures of public schooling, and you can do this by hand or by digital means. And I have a few examples to show you here. So here we have one that's done by hand, simply drawing in some of the stakeholders, and then these annotations that kind of explain the relationships and what these stakeholders, who they are and what they do. So that's kind of a cool little one that was just hand drawn. Here's another one that was created kind of as a PowerPoint. And so it lists the stakeholders on one, but you see how it's numbered, because then as we go down, it gives you kind of a description of each of those. This one didn't get full marks because it doesn't talk about the relationship. So it'd be good to have like 1 to 2. And I actually have an example of that here on a PowerPoint slide. So let me show you that. Here on this PowerPoint, it says the governors and the state board chairs, and it talks about how they work together. Legislators and superintendents and what their relationship is like, school board members and principals. So this one does a good job as a PowerPoint to do that. Now, let's see. Here's another one that this was done digitally. It kind of looks like it's done by hand, but it's just a concept map that has the different things written in, and it's showing lines to explain how they intersect. So that's a good one. And let's come back to this. You'll notice that I actually clicked here on concept map. This will open up the Wikipedia page just because I want you to see. Let me drag this over. Kind of an example of a concept map and what a concept map is. If you're unfamiliar with concept maps, it's basically a way of dumping a bunch of ideas out and showing how they connect to each other. And the lines between the things are what's really important, especially as you're going to annotate, is how does this thing relate to this thing, which relates to that thing. And so drawing lines, that's kind of important. Okay, let me pull that back over. Now, once you have created the visual, we'll set up those annotations. And so that's just going to be putting notes on it. And then you'll upload that to Canvas as a digital document. So I think I still need to do that. I'll put this assignment on, I'll put the deadline for Sunday. So you have the whole week to do it. And then the scoring 50% is going to be the visual. And I don't care if it looks good. I just care that you're showing the right things. So I'm not going to grade you on your artistic ability. I'm going to grade you on that you've included all the right things. And then the annotations are the other. Oh, it says 25 points. And I meant 50. I'll fix that. And then I just have some of those examples on the same document. So you've got that. So that's the whole assignment. It's kind of a fun assignment. I think I had one other example here. Let me show you stakeholders. And this one just, again, lists it. It fell a little short of showing the intersection between the two, but just wanted to show you another example. So there you go. This is a fun assignment. My students in the past have really enjoyed it because it does push your thinking, but it's a chance to be a little more artsy, which is super cool as well. So good luck with it. Have fun with it. This week, again, in the module 3, if you go to that first thing, it walks you through step by step everything you need to do this week, what you need to read, what your assignments are. And so a little, actually quite a bit less reading this week because now you're doing more hands-on stuff. So it should be really fun for you. All right, have a great week. Talk to you again soon. On record, I have to stop it. Stop share.